The Extraordinary Phenomenon Investigations Council presents Epic Voyages. Come join us as we enter and experience the great mysteries of the world with tonight's host,
William Puckett.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is William Puckett. I am the Montana State Director for E.P.I.C, which is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigation Council. And the website for E.P.I.C is www.epicvoyagers.com. And tonight, we're going to be talking about UFOs. And I've been a UFO investigator for several years, actually about 8 years, and I also manage my own UFO investigative service called UFOs Northwest, and tonight I'll be discussing several cases coming from my site, and my site URL is www.ufosnw.com. If you can't find it, just put UFOs Northwest in Google, and you'll find me. And we got a great show tonight. The first few minutes, I'm just going to talk about myself a little bit and what got me interested in UFOs. And then we're going to bring a couple of great witnesses on, a couple of really exciting cases from Washington State. This will be in the first hour. And then I'm going to talk about some of the best cases that I've looked at in 2010 and 2011. That'll take us at the end of the first hour, and then for the next 30 minutes, we'll take calls. If you have a sighting to report, or if you just have a question about UFOs, or if you just want to talk about UFOs. As far as that goes, any other paranormal phenomena, in my mind, they all kind of relate. And we'll also be looking at the chat room and trying to respond to messages coming into the chat room. Well, first of all, I'm coming to you from the beautiful Helena Valley in Helena, Montana. It's quite cold here tonight, about 10 degrees above zero. It was 6 below this morning. So winter's definitely here, and I'm trying to get myself acclimated to that, as I've only been here about 4 months now, and I moved here from Washington State, where I did most of my UFO investigation work. And in 2003, I started the UFO website, UFOs Northwest. I get 3 to 4 reports a day, and encourage people, if they have a report, just to go to my site and report a case. You can also report cases to E.P.I.C site, too, by going to epicvoyagers.com. I'm also a member of the Mutual UFO Network, certified field investigator. I'm not real active in that right now, but I've got my fingers on a lot of UFO pies, and quite excited about that. This has been quite a year for UFOs. Starting July 1st, 2011, the sightings started coming in so fast they could come in faster than I could type. I've got a backlog of 400 or 500 cases that I don't even have up online. Right now, I've only got time to post photos and videos. A lot of these cases are nocturnal lights, orange orbs, and some people see a few of them, some people see several of them. A lot of these are unidentified, although I do feel there are some that are probably Chinese lanterns. That's not a frequent situation, but I do believe that some of them have been identified as Chinese lanterns, which are really homemade hot air balloons. And they are dangerous. They are a fire hazard, and I'm sure they're illegal in most cases. What does the UFO phenomenon mean? I keep changing in my viewpoints of that. I really don't think extraterrestrial space visitors at this time are coming in and out of our atmosphere. If they were, people would see them more. I mean, it's now you see them, now you don't in most cases. And what science is looking for is, hey, there's a probe out there. It's orbiting the Earth. What is it? Well, we're not seeing that. However, my belief is, and I base this on many, many cases I've looked at, is that UFOs are coming in here from higher dimensions or parallel universes. And the reason I say that is they pop in and out. They show that same pattern in radar. I've done a lot of radar analysis. I'll talk a little bit about that later in the broadcast. And they also cause, in several cases, a lot of electromagnetic anomalies. And that would be consistent with something that's coming from another dimension, another energy source. And also, the military used to have a policy, NORAD, that they would scramble aircraft after any unknown aircraft that were approaching U.S.-Canadian airspace. Well, since 9/11, they've changed that policy, and now they scramble, after anything that looks strange within the boundaries of the U.S. and Canada. However, they do a lot of scrambles, and they don't find anything. And they see a lot of stuff on radar, and they don't even go out and look at it because they don't see anything. That doesn't mean nothing's there. I think a lot of cases something is there, but enough that's painting a radar echo, but then it disappears. So just on that rationale that I've discussed is kind of where I'm coming from. Now, UFOs have likely been here in the past, and maybe extraterrestrials have visited in the past and could have bases here. But I'm saying they're not coming in and out of the atmosphere on a regular basis. They could very well be intermingled, and underground or whatever. The sky's the limit, and everything I'm telling you is my opinion. And that's just based on my research and the many, many cases that I've looked at. Unfortunately, I can only look at a few high-quality cases that defy explanation, and I would list that percentage between 3 and 5% of the cases that I receive are not identifiable. Of course, there's always the secret military. A lot of these triangles, I think some of those are probably military craft. The TR-3B flying triangle has long been a rumored electromagnetic propulsion type craft, and I get many of these reports. And so, most of these come at night, and that's consistent with the military. When they were testing the stealth aircraft, they moved them at night so people couldn't see them as well, and that would be consistent. So we're coming up here, and I'd like to bring in our first caller, first witness. This will be from Washington State, and this is a lady.
Hello.
Hi, Allie, are you there?
I am.
How you doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
How's the weather in Seattle?
Cold night and cold and clear in Seattle.
Well, it's probably colder and clearer here in Montana. It was 6 below zero this morning.
Wow.
Well, Allie's got an interesting case to talk about, and she's had some really weird experiences. And you can look at some of the photos that Allie has sent me and an outline of her case on my site by going to my home page and looking at the top of the page there, we're trying to vector people there. So.
Would you like me to go ahead and?
Yeah, you go ahead,
what
Allie,
happened?
and
Okay.
tell people what's been going on, and then I will, after you talk a while, I'll show them on the site where they can read more about your case.
So this happened. This is a recent example of what's been going on. This type of thing is confusing. It's scary. I don't know where to file it, and I'm really grateful for the UFO community that's, helping me understand what's going on. So on the 17th of November last month, I was driving to work, and there's a 2-mile stretch of road that takes me onto I-5 southbound toward where I work. And I was driving, it was about 7 a.m., and I'd gotten my coffee. That's sort of an important part of the story because it's trying to manipulate things as I move forward while I'm driving. And I started to see lights over my head, and it was just beginning to become light out. And I thought, what are those lights? That's really bizarre. And as I continued driving, I thought, well, why is there a plane over my head? And it just was an odd place where there was no air traffic. So then I saw the lights again, and I don't really know what happened. I just remember then continuing to drive and my sister calling me on the phone, and I answered the phone, and she said, why did you call me? And I said, well, I didn't call you. And she said, no, I can tell you, you just tried to call me. And she said, wait, let me look at my phone. And she looked at her phone, and it had registered, we both have iPhones, so it had registered that I had tried to call her during the time where I had seen these lights. And I said, well, I don't know I don't know why I called you. I said, but let me look at my phone. And there was no register of me trying to call her, which I thought was very odd. And at that point, I started to feel very sick. I wasn't able to put analytical thoughts together, and I continued to drive to work, and I got sicker and sicker. I couldn't manipulate my radio, which I've had a million years, and I just couldn't remember how to change the band station. I thought, well, something's really wrong, because here I am driving along, and then now I'm feeling really sick. I got to work, and my coworker said, you don't look well. And I said, I don't feel good. And so for the next 36 hours, I felt really disoriented and tired and achy. And at that point, I'd called you, and I know from past experience that it takes about a week for whatever happened to kind of come back as a weird memory. And this is consistently through my abduction scenarios that is taken about a week. So I fully expected that something would that I would realize something, and I did. And I remember being in a room where I was sitting, and there was this weird object coming out of my right hand, and it was inserted through the top of my hand, and it was embedded all the way down to my elbow, and it had these spindly pieces on the top that were multicolored, and I knew that they attached to something, but as I looked at it, it didn't appear to be attached to anything, and I didn't feel any pain, and I kept wondering, wow, what would that be like if I pulled that out? I bet that would really hurt. And the next day I was talking to my husband about it, and we looked at my hand, and I have two suction marks, really weird-looking colored, they're weirdly colored on the inside, around circular suction cup imprints on my right hand, and they're not going away. They seem to be permanent.
Ollie, could I just briefly tell listeners, go to my homepage, www.ufosnw.com, and you'll see a read summary of 2 witness interview cases, and click on that, and the what Ollie is talking about, right on the top there is a sketch and a photo of her suction marks on her hand, so listeners can look at that. So go ahead, Ollie. I just wanted to let listeners know.
It's kind of hard to see in the photos, but while I'm driving and I can look at my hand, it's really quite clear, and my husband could see it very clearly. And I remember thinking, as I was looking at this is really one of those times when there was clearly something that happened, and I have marks. And my other abduction experiences, I haven't really had anything that I could say, hey, seems to be some sort of a realization about what happened to me on that day. And the 2 days prior, I had been near Marysville and seen some other lights. And I obviously I don't know if they were related, but it seems to me my abductions come in little groupings.
Yeah, that's really a strange case, and I know you've had a lot of experiences in the past. And also, as you mentioned, there have been a lot of other sightings in that small area, Seattle, Marysville, and right around the time before and after that you had your experience. And of course, on that link that I just provided people, there's a YouTube video of some lights taken. And also on my home page, I believe that was the 15th of November also, I got a good photograph of some lights taken near Marysville. So, this is a situation where someone's not getting abducted out of a bedroom. This is right on the highway, and where you've had some missing time and some things that happen that you couldn't explain. In addition to that, we have some physical evidence of the marks on your hands. And to me, that really means this is quite a compelling case and something that's deserving of attention. And so I really thank you for sharing that, Allie. And is there anything else you'd like to share?
You're welcome. Well, I would like to bring up one other case because I don't believe in coincidence. And I come from a family that, we aren't as accepting as of these types of experiences. I think as a lot of people out there can relate to this. However, I had not talked to my family about this, but I did mention to one of my sisters, if anything weird happens, would you let me know? And she called me, and this was almost a year ago to the day, and she lives 50 miles from me. And she called me out of the blue and said, well, it happened. I went outside, and I saw these men, and they had white hair. And again, I never talked about this to my sisters. And they were outside. She lives kind of in a rural area. And I said, oh, they're here again. And off they went. And she didn't really elaborate. She was a little freaked out about it. And I had on the same morning and talked to my husband, had been awake out on my balcony. And there was this giant white ball that I could see. It was coming toward me off of the balcony, and I could see inside of it, like there was like there was blue sky and clouds and other things, and it was almost transparent. It was really strange, and I remember thinking, well, I don't know what's going to happen, and then I didn't remember anything else. And so my sister and I talked, and I decided to call my other sister who lives on the East Coast. And I said, did anything happen? And she screamed into the phone, and she started to talk about this white-haired man in a spaceship and wearing a white lacy uniform. And both of them, independently of each other, without talking to each other, had talked about this person with white hair and a white lacy uniform. And coincidentally, this is the same person that I've had a number of abductions with in the past. And I think, looking at this from a perspective of, okay, these are three family members who are related, what are the odds that we would all have the same experience and be in completely different parts of the country on the same day? And that really was the other experience that I when I think about it, I don't know what to think. Yeah,
it would be hard to know what to think. It's certainly That is really strange. I mean, what could explain that, you know? Several miles apart, same experience, same time, and three relatives, you know? I mean, there's a lot of cases in...
very specific detail about a part of the uniform.
Yeah,
and it was just and the white hair. Very specific.
That's really strange. I mean, there's been abductions, seem like they follow families sometimes, you know, parents and kids and grandkids or whatever, but this is even more bizarre because this all happened at the same time. And
I think there must be a family relationship with whatever's going on. And you know, having this happen and having my sisters talk about it, and then kind of, you know, they sort of put it past them, and you know, we talk about it occasionally, but they're not really computing what happened. They just say, "Oh, that was weird." That's the really weird part to me, is that they've accepted it. You know, we don't talk about it anymore, but I think they're a little fearful about it, about what really happened.
Yeah, well, I think I would be too. That's strange. And well, really appreciate you taking your time, Ellie, to share that with us. And I urge the listeners to go to that page, again, www.ufosnw.com, and then just click on that icon there, hypertext on the top, and you'll go to the where it says read summary of 2 witness interview cases, and you can read about Ollie's experience plus the other witness that we'll be interviewing here pretty soon, who also is from Washington State. He'll be talking about an earlier experience. So again, thank you for your time, and good luck, and keep your camera handy, and let's hope that these entities or whatever they are leave you alone.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Take care.
Okay, good night. There you have it. Very interesting case. I've known Allie for several years, and she's had a lot of past experiences, and they continue, and you know, she's starting to get some documentation, like physical effects. And I have had other UFO reports where people... I've never had anybody get really seriously hurt, except one case, a couple in Missouri. This happened in 2005. They were driving to Ohio, and there was this triangular object hovering over the road. This was late at night, and it apparently they drove right underneath it and emitted very strange odor, and kind of a gaseous odor, and they drove on to their destination, and the woman had these new synthetic suede boots that she got from Walmart, and the finish started coming off these boots, and it was getting on the carpet of her relative, and I actually have the boots. There's a photo of them on my site. Later I'll give you a link on that, but anyhow, they returned back to Missouri, and she got very ill and lost her hair. Some of her hair turned white. She had gastrointestinal problems, kind of had several symptoms of radiation poisoning. And also her husband got sick too. And she went to a doctor at the University of Arkansas. This particular doctor, she was reluctant to tell him, you know, when she got sick, and she told him, well, she had a UFO encounter, and he looked at her and says, "Oh yeah, I've heard of those before." Well, she gave me the name of the doctor. I won't say that over the air, but I did a little research on him, and he did a lot of work under NASA contracts in extraterrestrial biology and exobiology, I believe it's called. So he was no stranger to the UFO phenomenon, and he did a lot of work in graduate school even before he became an MD. This lady got very ill. She had some neural problems after that, but I did get a voicemail from her the other day, and this was 6 years ago, so I'm happy to hear that she got through this okay. So that's one particular case where, at least cases that I've looked at, where people have got hurt from a UFO encounter, and I don't know what this object was, but it definitely was something very strange. And in a few minutes, I'll be interviewing another witness from Marysville, Washington, and after he finishes, I'll discuss some of the additional research I did with that case. But one thing I'm going to mention too is the state of Florida has really had quite a wave of sightings in October and November, and actually I did a Google map of these cases, and I got like 2 cases a day on the average. Now many of these are the nocturnal orange orbs that I talked about, and some are probably identifiable, but many are not. And the fact that so many of these reports coming from Florida is a bit unusual. Washington State, Florida, and California and Texas produce some of the most voluminous UFO reports, and a lot from southern Canada, particularly eastern Canada, many, many reports. I'm going to discuss another case briefly before we bring on our next witness. And this happened. This is the only airline pilot sighting that I've ever had. And it happened almost exactly a year ago. Happened on December 26th, the day after Christmas, 2010. And a co-pilot, wrote me a report. They were taken off from Las Vegas McCarran Airport, and they were near Pahrump, Nevada. Pahrump has significance because that's where the talk show host Art Bell lives. I believe he still lives there.